The moment I saw her, I knew something was off. It was late past midnight. I had just pulled into our driveway, exhausted from a 12-hour shift at the construction site. My boots were heavy with dust, my hands calloused, my back screaming in protest. All I wanted was a cold beer and my bed. But then I saw it. A black car, idling a few houses down. The driver barely visible behind the tinted windows. My stomach twisted, an instinctual gut punch telling me something wasn't right. I stepped out, quietly shutting the truck door, moving towards the house with cautious steps. The porch light was off. Our living room window was cracked open just slightly, and from inside, I heard her laugh. Not the fake, polite chuckle she gave her coworkers. Not the irritated sigh she gave me when I told a joke. No, this was different. This was real, full-bodied, dripping with flirtation. I crept closer, heart hammering against my ribs. Peeking through the window, I saw her, Lauren, my wife of 6 years, curled up on the couch, a wine glass in one hand, the other resting on a man's thigh. I froze. The TV was on, playing some meaningless late-night show, but neither of them were watching. She leaned in, her voice low and teasing. "You should go," she whispered, but she didn't sound like she meant it. The guy smirked. His hand traveled up her thigh, and she didn't stop him. Something inside me snapped. Before I could think, I was at the front door, unlocking it with force. It slammed open, hitting the wall so hard a picture frame crashed to the floor. Lauren jumped, the wine spilling over her dress. The guy, some smug-looking asshole in a suit, scrambled to his feet. "Who the hell?" he started, but I didn't give him the chance. My fist met his jaw before he could finish his sentence. The impact sent him stumbling back into the coffee table, knocking over the wine bottle. Glass shattered. Lauren screamed, rushing forward. Not to help me, but to shield him. "What the F*** is wrong with you, Jake?" she shrieked, pushing me back. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't ****ing believe it. She wasn't even sorry. "Who the hell is this, Lauren?" I demanded, breathing hard. She rolled her eyes, brushing wine off her dress like this was just an inconvenience to her. "You're overreacting." Overreacting. I looked at the guy who was still groaning on the floor, and then back at her. My wife, the woman who promised to love me, sitting there with another man in our house, touching him like she used to touch me. My fists clenched. My vision blurred red. Lauren sighed dramatically. "Oh my God, Jake. It's not what you think." I laughed, a harsh, humorless sound. "Not what I think? Then please enlighten me, Lauren. What the F*** is this?" She had the audacity to roll her eyes again. "He's just a friend." A friend. With his hand up her thigh? With her laughing like that? Did she think I was a F***ing idiot? I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. Not for her, for me. I looked at the guy again, who was now rubbing his jaw and glaring at me. "You should leave," I told him, my voice low. A warning. He hesitated, glancing at Lauren like he needed her permission to walk out of my house. And that's when I saw it. Guilt. Not because she was sorry. Not because she regretted it. But because she'd been caught. And that's when I knew this wasn't the first time. I had been a F***ing fool***. Lauren crossed her arms, her face twisted in irritation. Not guilt, irritation. Like I had inconvenienced her little date night. "Jesus, Jake. You're being ridiculous." I laughed, shaking my head. "Ridiculous." I pointed at the guy, who was now straightening his tie like he wasn't just sprawled on my floor a minute ago. "You're sitting on the couch with another man, his hand up your damn thigh, and I'm the one being ridiculous?" Lauren groaned, rubbing her temples. "He's my coworker." I turned to the guy, my hands clenched. "Is that right?" He hesitated for 1 second too long before nodding. "Yeah, we work together." I looked at Lauren. "And do you usually let your coworkers fill you up in our F***ing living room?" She scoffed. Actually scoffed. "It wasn't like that." "Oh? Tell me, Lauren, how exactly was it?" She exhaled, frustrated, like she was explaining something to a child. We had a few drinks. We were just talking. I let out a bitter chuckle. Talking? That's what you call it. Jesus, Jake. I knew you'd act like this. That's why I didn't tell you. Something in me snapped. Tell me what, Lauren? My voice came out sharper than I expected. She hesitated, then flipped her hair over her shoulder. That we were hanging out. I stared at her, deadpan. At midnight? Alone? While I was at work. Her jaw tightened. I could see her brain working, trying to spin this into something that made her look like the victim. You're always at work, she muttered. There it was. The pathetic excuse. Are you and you serious? I took a step closer. I work to pay for this house. I work so you don't have to. And you're gonna turn this around on me? Lauren sighed heavily, like I was exhausting her. Jake, you're acting crazy. You're making a big deal out of nothing. The guy, who still hadn't said his name, by the way, cleared his throat. Look, maybe I should go. I stepped in front of him before he could take another step. You're damn right you should go. He looked at Lauren again. You good? 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 Lauren nodded, giving him a small, pathetic smile. I'm fine. I waited until he was at the door before leaning in and whispering, if I ever see you near my wife again, I'll break more than your jaw. He swallowed hard and practically ran to his car. The second he was gone, I turned back to Lauren. She was already rolling her eyes again. Wow, real mature, Jake. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. How long? She blinked. What? I clenched my jaw. How long has this been going on? Her expression didn't change. No guilt. No shame. Just annoyance. Nothing is going on. I laughed, shaking my head. You're unbelievable. She threw her hands up. Jake. For ******'''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''' You're blowing this out of proportion. I stared at her, feeling something inside me crack. She wasn't going to admit it. She wasn't even going to pretend to be sorry. I ran a hand through my hair. Lauren, I want the truth. She huffed. The truth? Fine. The truth is that I was lonely. I froze. Lonely? She crossed her arms. Yeah, you're always at work. You come home tired, covered in dust, and all you do is drink a beer and go to sleep. I felt like I'd been slapped. She kept going. I needed attention, Jake. I needed someone who actually listens to me. I took a step back, disgust curling in my stomach. So you let some guy touch you? In our house. Her lips pressed together. I didn't sleep with him. I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Oh, well, then I guess that makes it fine, huh? She glared at me. Jesus. Why are you acting like I cheated? I snapped. Because you did, Lauren. She flinched at the volume of my voice but quickly recovered, her expression ice cold. Whatever. Believe what you want. I exhaled shakily, trying to get my breathing under control. You know what? I don't even care if you *********ed him or not. You disrespected me, Lauren. You disrespected our marriage. She rolled her eyes again. Oh my God. Stop being so dramatic. Dramatic. That was it. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just a mistake. It wasn't just a lapse in judgment. She didn't give a single F*** about me. I stared at her, feeling my hands shake. I want a divorce. Her head snapped up. Excuse me? I met her gaze, my voice dead serious. We're done. Her face twisted. Oh, off, Jake. You're not actually leaving me. I clenched my fists. Watch me. She scoffed, shaking her head. You're not serious. Where the hell are you gonna go? I grabbed my keys. Anywhere but here. She laughed. Cold, bitter laugh. Oh my God. You're actually doing this? Over a little misunderstanding. I stopped at the door, turning back to look at her one last time. It's not a misunderstanding. It's who you are. She opened her mouth to argue, but I slammed the door behind me before she could speak. I walked to my truck, my hands shaking, my chest tight, and as I drove off into the night, I realized something. The woman I loved didn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did. The truck roared as I sped down the empty streets, my knuckles white against the steering wheel. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. But no matter how much I tried to deny it, the truth sat heavy in my gut like a lead weight. Lauren had cheated. Maybe not physically, yet, but emotionally? Hell yes. And the way she acted, the way she didn't even try to hide it, that was worse than if she'd just come out and admitted it. I pulled into an empty gas station lot, killed the engine, and just sat there, my head resting against the seat. My hands were still trembling. Adrenaline? Rage? Maybe both. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hit something. I wanted to rewind time and never marry that bitch in the first place. Instead, I grabbed my phone. One missed call from Lauren. No texts. No apologies. Nothing. I laughed bitterly. Of course. She probably thought I'd cool off. Come crawling back. Let her gaslight me into believing I'd overreacted. Like hell I would. I scrolled down my contacts until I found the one person I could trust. Tyler. My best friend since middle school. The guy who had warned me about Lauren years ago, and I hadn't listened. I hit call. He picked up on the second ring. Jake. His voice was groggy. Dude. It's almost 2 in the morning. You good? No. I admitted. My voice sounded foreign, hollow. Tyler was silent for a second. Then I heard him shuffling around, probably sitting up in bed. Where are you? Gas station. On Maple. I'll be there in 10. I hung up and leaned back, staring at the roof of my truck. I didn't cry. Couldn't. I just felt empty. The reality sets in. A few minutes later, headlights flashed across my mirrors. Tyler's car pulled up beside me. He barely took a second to turn off his engine before he was out, walking over. I got out too, and the second he saw my face, his expression darkened. Tell me you didn't get into a fight. I let out a dry chuckle. Only one punch. Tyler sighed, rubbing his face. Jesus, man. What the hell happened? I told him everything. The car outside the house. The way she had laughed. The guy's hand on her. How she didn't even try to hide it. And how, when I confronted her, she acted like I was the problem. By the time I was done, Tyler was pacing. His jaw was clenched, his hands curled into fists. That F*******Angie bitch, he muttered. I knew she was bad news. I exhaled, my hands resting on my hips. Yeah, well, I guess you were right. Tyler stopped and looked at me, his expression shifting. Wait, are you finally admitting that? I sighed. Don't get cocky. He shook his head. Nah, that. You've been defending her for years, Jake. Every time I told you she was manipulative, every time I told you she was using you, you said I was wrong. And now, he scoffed. Now you see it. I ran a hand through my hair. Yeah, I see it. Silence stretched between us. For the first time, I really let it sink in. My marriage was over. 6 years. Gone. All the nights I spent working late, all the effort I put in to build a life with her, all the times I ignored my gut when things didn't feel right. It was all for nothing. And what pissed me off the most? She didn't even care. I clenched my jaw. I'm done, Ty. He nodded. Good. No, I mean it. I'm done. I want a divorce. Tyler exhaled, running a hand through his hair. All right. So what's next? I frowned. What do you mean? He gave me a look. You can't go back to that house, man. She's gonna try to manipulate you. Guilt trip you. With your head. I knew he was right. Lauren was a master manipulator. She would cry, pretend she was the victim, spin some ridiculous excuse, and expect me to fall for it. But I wasn't falling for anymore. I'll stay at a motel, I said. Tomorrow I'll get a lawyer. Tyler shook his head. Screw that. Stay at my place. I hesitated. I don't want to impose. Shut up. He clapped a hand on my shoulder. You're staying with me. No arguments. For the first time all night, I felt a bit of the weight lift off my chest. Tyler wasn't just my friend. He was my brother. The last straw. By the time we got to his apartment, I was exhausted. Emotionally, mentally, I crashed on his couch, staring at the ceiling. Then my phone buzzed. Lauren. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the screen. Tyler glanced over. Don't answer. I exhaled. I won't. But then my phone buzzed again. A text popped up. I frowned. What the F asterisk asterisk asterisk? What? Tyler leaned over. I turned the screen toward him. Lauren's text read, I'm pregnant. My heart stopped. I sat up so fast the blood rushed to my head. No F asterisk 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 ng way. Tyler snatched the phone from my hand. Oh hell no. She's lying. I swallowed hard. How do you know? He rolled his eyes. Dude, classic manipulation move. She knows you're done. So she's pulling the pregnancy card to keep you trapped. My stomach churned. But what if it's real? Tyler sighed, rubbing his temples. Okay, if it's real, we'll deal with it. But don't believe her just because she says it. Make her prove it. I nodded, but my mind was racing. Was she telling the truth? Or was this just another one of her lies? Either way, I had a sinking feeling in my gut. Lauren wasn't done F asterisk 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 ng with me yet. And I wasn't sure if I was ready for what came next. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. I'm pregnant. 2 words. 2 F asterisk 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 ing words that could change everything. I could already hear Lauren's voice in my head, spinning her web of lies, trying to drag me back into her trap. Tyler was watching me, his expression dark. You're not seriously considering believing this, are you? I swallowed hard. I don't know, man. What if it's true? Tyler scoffed. Dude, come on. You said it yourself. She was with that guy. Do the math. That hit like a punch to the gut. He was right. If she was pregnant, whose kid was it? Mine? Or his? My fingers clenched around my phone. I needed answers. Now, the call. Against my better judgment, I tapped Lauren's contact and hit call. She picked up immediately, like she'd been waiting. Jake. Her voice was soft, trembling, fake. I could picture her perfectly. Sitting on our bed, crocodile tears in her eyes, playing the innocent victim. Is it true? My voice was flat, cold, a beat of silence. Then she sniffled. Yes. I exhaled, running a hand through my hair. And I'm supposed to just believe you? She gasped like I had slapped her. What the hell does that mean? I laughed bitterly. You know exactly what it means, Lauren. You expect me to take your word for it after what I saw tonight. Her voice hardened. I can't believe you're acting like this. I tell you I'm pregnant, and instead of supporting me, you're throwing accusations. Who's the father? I cut in. She hesitated. Too long. Then her voice went dangerously sweet. Jake, come home. We can talk about this. Face to face. My blood ran cold. That was it. The trap. She wanted me back under her roof, back in her space, where she could gaslight me into submission. I wasn't falling for it. Not a chance, I said. You want to talk? Meet me at a clinic. We're getting a paternity test. The silence on the other end stretched so long I thought she hung up. Then, she spat. You don't trust me? I almost laughed. Not even a little. Lauren screamed into the phone and hung up. Tyler let out a low whistle. Damn, that went well. I stared at my phone, my jaw clenched. She's hiding something. Tyler smirked. No S asterisk asterisk asterisk. The setup. The next morning, I woke up to a flood of texts. Lauren. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Lauren. After everything we've been through, this is how you treat me? Lauren, you need to come home so we can talk like adults. Lauren. If you don't come back, I swear to God, Jake, you'll regret it. The last one made my blood run cold. What the F asterisk 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 is that supposed to mean? I muttered. Tyler, who was pouring coffee in the kitchen, raised an eyebrow. She threatening you now? I showed him the message. He whistled. Yup, that's a threat. My gut twisted. Lauren was dangerous when she didn't get her way. She didn't just lose, she destroyed. And I had a bad feeling she was about to make my life a living hell. The break-in. That afternoon, I went back to my house. But not alone. Tyler came with me just in case. The second we pulled up, my stomach dropped. Lauren's car was parked in the driveway. And the front door? Wide open. Tyler tensed. You lock up before you left? Of course. He exchanged a look with me. Lauren was inside. I stepped out, my pulse hammering. Stay close. We walked up to the house, and the second I stepped inside, I knew. She had gone through everything. Drawers were open, papers scattered. My laptop was gone. And then I heard it. Footsteps upstairs. Tyler's eyes darkened. Oh, hell no. I stormed up the stairs, following the noise. Lauren was in our bedroom, shoving things into a bag. My clothes, my watch, my passport. She turned, her eyes wild. What are you doing here? I clenched my fists. What am I doing here? This is my house. She scoffed. Not anymore. My head snapped back. Excuse me? She smirked. I talked to a lawyer. Since we're still married, and I'm pregnant, I have a right to stay here. And if you leave, that's abandonment. I stared at her, horrified. This wasn't just a tantrum. This was war. The breaking point. You're insane, I whispered. She laughed. No, Jake. I'm smart. And you? You're an idiot for thinking you could just walk away. I exhaled through my nose, forcing myself to stay calm. You're lying about the pregnancy, aren't you? Her smirk faltered. Gotcha. I told you, I said coldly. Take a test. Prove it. She crossed her arms. I don't have to prove S*** to you. Tyler, who had been watching in silence, finally spoke. That's what I thought. Lauren's eyes snapped to him. Stay out of this, you lowlife piece of. Enough. I cut in. Get out. She laughed. Make me. I stepped forward. If you don't leave, I'm calling the cops. That wiped the smirk off her face. You wouldn't. I pulled out my phone and started dialing. She screamed in frustration, grabbed the bag of stolen stuff, and shoved past me. This isn't over, Jake, she hissed. You're going to regret this. I didn't say a word as she stormed out. The second the door slammed shut, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Tyler clapped me on the back. Dude, she's unhinged. I nodded. Yeah. He gave me a serious look. You need a lawyer. Now. I nodded again. Because one thing was clear, Lauren wasn't just going to let me go. She was going to burn everything down with me in it. And I needed to be ready. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lauren's face. Smirking, taunting, plotting. Because that's exactly what she was doing. She wasn't just mad. She was calculating. And if I didn't get ahead of her, she was going to and ruin me. The lawyer. First thing in the morning, I called a lawyer. His name was Mark Reynolds, and from the second he picked up, I knew I had made the right choice. You're in deep aren't you? He said, his voice sharp. No nonsense. I sighed. You have no idea. Give me the short version. I told him everything, the cheating, the lies, the fake pregnancy, the break-in. Mark listened without interrupting. When I finished, there was a long silence. Then he said, okay, first things first, you need to secure your property. Change the locks, get security cameras, and document everything. I mean everything. If she so much as breathes in your direction, I want a record of it. I nodded, gripping my phone. Got it. Next, Mark continued, you need to cut contact. No texts, no calls. If she wants to talk, she can do it through a lawyer. That was going to be a problem. Because Lauren wasn't the type to take no for an answer. The blow-up. 2 hours later, I was at the hardware store, picking out new locks, when my phone exploded with notifications. Lauren. You're seriously ignoring me? Lauren, Jake, stop this. We need to talk. Lauren. I'm still your wife. Lauren. You think you can just run away from me? Then came the calls. One after another. I let them all go to voicemail. Until finally, Lauren, fine. You want to play dirty? Watch what happens next. My stomach twisted. She wasn't bluffing. The false accusation. By the time I got home, The cops were already there. I barely had time to park before one of them, a tall, broad-shouldered officer, approached my car. "Jake Carter." I swallowed hard. "Yeah." He nodded to his partner. "Step out of the vehicle." My heart slammed against my ribs. "What's going on?" The officer pulled out a small notepad. "We received a call from your wife. She claims you threatened her life." The world tilted. "What?" "She has messages," he continued. "Texts, voicemails. Says you've been harassing her." "Bull. Thing." I kept my voice steady. "I haven't spoken to her since last night." The officer eyed me. "You're saying she's lying?" "Yes," I said firmly. "And I can prove it." I pulled out my phone and opened my call logs. Not a single outgoing call to Lauren. Only her texts, all of which I ignored. The officer's eyes scanned the screen. Then slowly he nodded. "All right, that lines up with what we've seen." Relief crashed over me like a wave. But then his expression darkened. "That being said, we still need to take a statement. If this escalates, we'll need documentation." I exhaled sharply. "Understood." And just like that, I was dragged into Lauren's war. The counterattack. The second the cops left, I called Mark. "She's already trying to frame me," I said. "What do I do?" Mark didn't hesitate. "We file for a restraining order." My jaw clenched. "Will that even work?" "It's worth a shot," he said. "And if nothing else, it sends a message. You're not playing her game." I nodded, my grip tightening around the phone. She wanted a war? Fine. I was done playing defense. The trap. Over the next few days, I followed Mark's advice to the letter. Changed my locks. Installed security cameras. Filed for a restraining order. Lauren, of course, was furious. "Lauren, you seriously think a restraining order will stop me? Lauren, you are making the biggest mistake of your life. Lauren, you're going to regret this, Jake." But I ignored her. Until one night, bang, bang, bang. Someone was pounding on my door. I checked the cameras. Lauren. My stomach twisted. She was crying, her makeup smudged, her hands shaking. But I wasn't falling for it. I pulled out my phone and hit record before opening the door. Just barely. "What do you want, Lauren?" My voice was cold. She hiccuped. "Please, I just need to talk." "No." Her eyes flashed with anger. "Jake, please. I'm pregnant. You can't do this to me." I stared at her. "Take a test." She flinched. "Busted." I stepped back. "Leave, Lauren. Now." And then she lunged. I barely had time to react before she screamed at the top of her lungs. "Help! He's hurting me." My blood froze. I stumbled back as she collapsed onto the porch, clutching her stomach. "You bastard!" she sobbed. "You hit me." I slammed the door in her face and called the cops. The cops arrived within 10 minutes. The entire time, I stood by the door, gripping my phone, my camera still recording. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. A loud knock. I took a deep breath and opened the door. The same officer from before stood there, his gaze shifting from me to Lauren, who was now slumped on my porch, clutching her stomach like she was in a soap opera. Her sobs were loud, dramatic, exaggerated. "He pushed me," she gasped between fake cries. I'm pregnant. And he wanted to get rid of me." I didn't say a word. I just held out my phone. "It's all recorded," I said coldly. The officer gave a quick nod to his partner, who took my phone. They both watched the video, their expressions growing stonier with each second. The video clearly showed everything. Lauren lunging at me, screaming at the top of her lungs, and me never even touching her. The officer turned to her, his voice sharp. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us." Lauren jerked upright, her eyes darting wildly. "What? No, he's lying. He probably edited that video. He's trying to ruin me." The officer sighed. "We'll sort this out at the station. But for now, we have clear evidence that your claims don't match reality." Lauren's face twisted into pure rage. She turned her glare on me. "You think this is over?" she hissed. "You think you can just ruin my life and walk away?" I met her gaze without flinching. No, Lauren. You ruined your own life. The officers pulled her to her feet, and she didn't resist. She just kept staring at me, eyes burning with fury, her chest rising and falling in ragged breaths. As they led her to the patrol car, I finally felt it, relief. But something told me this wasn't the last time I'd see her. I was right, because the next day she came back with a lawyer. The next morning, just as I was beginning to believe I could finally breathe, there was a knock at my door. A slow, deliberate knock. I knew before I even opened it. Lauren. But this time she wasn't alone. Beside her stood a man in a navy blue suit, holding a leather briefcase. His face set in a stiff, businesslike expression. A lawyer. I exhaled sharply and crossed my arms. You've got to be kidding me. Lauren smirked, her usual smugness creeping back now that she had backup. Gone was the desperate woman from last night. Now she looked calm, collected, dangerous. Good morning, Jake, she said smoothly. I see you're still playing the victim. Cute. I ignored her and looked at the lawyer. What does she want now? The man cleared his throat. Mr. Carter, my name is Daniel Price. I represent Mrs. Carter, and I'd like to discuss some pressing legal matters regarding your ongoing marital dispute. Marital dispute? I let out a dry laugh. That's what we're calling her breaking into my house and filing false police reports now? The lawyer didn't react. May we come in? I leaned against the doorframe. No. Lauren rolled her eyes. Oh my God, Jake. Stop being difficult. Difficult? I scoffed. Lauren, you tried to have me arrested last night. She sighed dramatically, shaking her head. And I apologized for that. You? I blinked. You did not apologize. Well, I meant to. She waved a dismissive hand. Anyway, that's in the past. We need to move forward. We have important things to discuss. I clenched my jaw. Like what? Daniel adjusted his tie and pulled a folder from his briefcase. Mrs. Carter is prepared to file for spousal support. I stared at him, then at Lauren, who had the audacity to look pleased with herself. I let out a short, bitter laugh. You're joking. Daniel shook his head. No, Mr. Carter, I am not. She's not entitled to a damn thing, I snapped. She cheated on me. She left me. And now she wants me to pay her. Lauren smirked. Well, technically, we're still married. Oh, she had planned this. She had walked out on me months ago, but she hadn't filed for divorce. And now I knew why. She was waiting, plotting. Now, suddenly, she was Mrs. Carter again when it benefited her. You're out of your damn mind, I said. Lauren crossed her arms. Jake, let's be reasonable. You make more money than I do. And considering I was forced to leave my home under unpleasant circumstances, I think it's only fair that you provide financial assistance while we sort things out legally. I felt a dangerous kind of rage start to boil in my chest. She had the nerve to act like she was the victim here. I took a slow breath, forcing my voice to stay even. Let me get this straight. You lied, cheated, and left me. You tried to get me arrested for something I didn't do. And now you're standing here, on my doorstep, asking for my money. Lauren tilted her head. It's not personal, babe. It's just the law. I almost laughed at how insane she was. Daniel cleared his throat. Of course, Mr. Carter, we're open to negotiations. However, if you refuse to cooperate, we'll have no choice but to escalate matters in court. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about money. Lauren didn't actually need spousal support. She had a job, she had savings. No, this was revenge. She wanted to drag this out, bleed me dry, make me suffer. I clenched my fists. Not happening. Fine, I said. You want to do this the hard way? Let's do it the hard way. Lauren's smirk faltered slightly. Excuse me? I turned to Daniel. I'll be filing for divorce today, and I'll be filing for damages, considering your client has made false police reports against me. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. Lauren's face darkened. You wouldn't. I smiled. Try me. For the first time, she looked genuinely unsettled. Good. Daniel cleared his throat again. Mr. Carter, let's not make any rash decisions. I stepped back inside and slammed the door in their faces. Then, without wasting another second, I grabbed my phone and called my lawyer. "Mark," I said, my voice sharp, "file the divorce papers. Now." That's when I realized something. Lauren wasn't just trying to ruin my life. She was desperate. And desperate people? They were the most dangerous of all. By the time I got to my lawyer's office, my blood was boiling. Mark, my attorney, was already waiting for me, his expression unreadable as he gestured for me to sit. "I assume this is urgent?" he asked. I threw the papers Lauren's lawyer had handed me onto his desk. "She wants spousal support." Mark raised an eyebrow but didn't look surprised. "Of course she does." I clenched my jaw. "She cheated on me. She left me. And now she's demanding money? She's out of her mind." Mark picked up the papers and skimmed through them. Typical tactic. "She probably thinks you'll panic and offer her a settlement just to make her go away." He flipped a page. "You're not considering that, right?" "Hell no." I leaned forward. "I want to go after her. I want to hit back. Legally." Mark nodded, setting the papers down. "Then we need to file first. The courts don't care about who cheated. But false police reports? That's a different story." I exhaled slowly. "You think I have a case?" "Oh, definitely," he said. "Especially with the video evidence." Lauren had tried to weaponize the law against me, but now the real fight was starting. Mark leaned back in his chair. "Now let's talk strategy. She's gonna play the victim, she always has. She'll say she left because you were emotionally abusive or some other nonsense." I scoffed. "Of course she will. She's already thrown false accusations at you once," he continued. "Wouldn't be shocked if she tries again. You need to be ready." My stomach twisted. "You mean she might pull another fake police report?" Mark nodded. "Or worse, accuse you of something even bigger. That's why we get ahead of it. We file first, we present the evidence, and we keep everything documented." I ran a hand down my face. "I can't believe this. I married this woman. I loved her. And now she's treating me like an enemy." Mark gave me a sympathetic look. "Divorces bring out the worst in people. But she's not thinking logically. She's thinking emotionally. She wants to win no matter what it takes." I nodded slowly. Lauren was desperate. And desperate people did dangerous things. As I left Mark's office, I checked my phone. Multiple missed calls from an unknown number. Something in my gut told me it was her. Sure enough, not even 10 minutes later, my phone rang again. I answered. "Jake." Lauren's voice was sickeningly sweet, fake as hell. "What do you want?" I asked flatly. She sighed dramatically. "Is that any way to talk to your wife?" I almost laughed. "Ex-wife soon enough." There was a pause. Then her voice turned sharp. "I just left my lawyer's office." "You filed for divorce?" "Damn right I did." She let out a bitter laugh. "Wow, you really don't waste time." "Huh? Neither did you," I shot back. "You left me months ago, Lauren. You just didn't bother filing because you wanted to screw me over financially." Another pause. Then, her voice dropped into something more sinister. "You think you're smart, Jake? You think you can just file some papers and get rid of me?" I gripped the phone tighter. "That's exactly what I think." She chuckled, but there was no humor in it. "Oh, babe, you have no idea what I'm capable of." Then she hung up. I stared at my phone, my pulse pounding. That wasn't just a threat. It was a promise. And if I knew Lauren, if I truly understood how far she'd go, this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. The next 2 days were quiet. Too quiet. Lauren was never the type to back down. If she wasn't calling, texting, or showing up at my house unannounced, it only meant one thing. She was plotting something. I didn't have to wait long to find out what. On the third morning, I woke up to a pounding at my door. Not a polite knock. Not even an impatient one. This was authoritative. Cop knock. My stomach dropped. I threw on a shirt and rushed to the door, my mind already racing. The moment I opened it, I knew I was in trouble. 2 officers stood there, their expressions cold and professional. One was holding a restraining order. "Mr. Carter?" the taller one asked. Yeah. My voice was steady, but my gut told me this was bad. Really bad. You've been served a temporary restraining order by your wife, Lauren Carter. I blinked. You've got to be kidding me. The officer didn't react. She claims you've been harassing and threatening her. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. She's the one who won't leave me alone, I protested. She showed up at my house twice. With a lawyer. The officer handed me the papers. You'll have a chance to fight this in court. But for now, you're legally required to stay away from her. That means no calls, no texts, no showing up at her residence or workplace. I clenched my jaw. Lauren had flipped the script on me. I was the one being harassed. I was the one dealing with her insanity. But now, thanks to a few well-placed lies, I looked like the bad guy. Is this even legal? I asked, gripping the papers. The officer nodded. It's a temporary order. In a few weeks, there will be a hearing where you can present your side. Until then, you need to comply. I hated this. I wanted to fight, to argue, to prove that I was the victim here. But I knew how this worked. Lauren was manipulative, but she wasn't stupid. She knew exactly what she was doing. Pushing me into a corner, setting me up to fail. If I so much as sent her a single text, she'd use it against me in court. So I nodded. Fine. The officers left, and I slammed the door shut. I sat down, gripping the papers so hard they crumpled. This wasn't just about money anymore. Lauren didn't just want to win. She wanted to destroy me. And the worst part? She might actually succeed.